While I comment on Neville Goddard's 1960 book, I Know My Father, enjoy the scenery from my recent trip to the west side of the Izu Peninsula in Japan. We went to a very old onsen hotel. Japan is filled with all kinds of different onsen, hot mineral baths. In Chapter 2, I Come With a Sword, Neville writes, "You are not what you are because of anything in the world. On the contrary, the world is what it is because of what you are, the what being the measure or value you have placed upon yourself. In short, your conception of yourself is the mold the conceiver, your true self, uses to people your world. Begin to transform the world by claiming yourself to be that which you desire to see expressed in the world." So what Neville is saying is you created the world. The world didn't create you. And in this book, he will teach you how to sculpt it the way you want it to be. He goes on to say, freedom is not won by the sweat of the brow. Stop wrestling with the world. It is only a reflector. Aren't we tired of trying to change the world in vain? Isn't it time we do as the mystics like Neville teach and change it from within? In Chapter 3, The Foundation Stone, Neville writes, "Who is God and where is God located? In answer to the who you are told, I am God, I am the Lord. I am hath sent me, the man Moses unto you. As to the location of God, you are told, the kingdom of God is within you. These two answers identify God as your awareness of being and locates him where you are aware of being. To be conscious of being is to silently declare, I am. As you listen to these words, you are aware of being. This awareness, this consciousness of being, is God, the Creator. Awareness is that formless deep in which all things live, move, and have their being, and apart from which things have no reality. This is the secret of the statement. Before Abraham was, I am. Before the world was, I am. And when all things shall cease to be, I am. So what Neville is saying here is that you, who is listening to these words now, that consciousness, that presence, that's God. And that, beyond the body and the mind, was before all was created, is in all of creation now, and even after creation has subsided, will continue to be eternally. Neville goes on to say, awareness is unconditioned. To be aware of being something or someone is conditioning, the unconditioned. That which is defined is less than the definer. Awareness sustains and directs all things that it is aware of being. Consciousness of being is the eternal womb impregnating itself through the medium of desire. To be conscious of an urge or desire is to have conceived. To believe, by feeling yourself the formless, to be the thing desired, is to be crucified upon the form of the thing felt. To continue in the belief, feeling that you are now the thing desired until all doubts cease, and a deep conviction is born that it is so, is to be resurrected or visibly lifted into expressing the nature of the thing felt. So what Neville is saying here is that you truly are simply awareness, consciousness, the unconditioned. And by unconditioned we mean that you simply are, you exist, beyond all forms, beyond all labels that you put upon yourself. All these other things that you put on, I'm a man or a woman, wherever it is you may live, whatever it is you may do as a profession, these are all conditions. These are all the things that are imagined upon the unconditioned awareness. So what is the best way for you as the awareness to condition your unconditioned true state? First, you have your desire, but then second, you move to feeling as though it already was so. And you can do this with a simple question. How would I feel if my desire were this moment realized? And you will feel something. And maybe this feeling may feel unnatural, but when you revisit this question and the feeling, you start to wear it almost like a new piece of clothing. And in time, it will become natural. And when it becomes natural, you will start to have your results. In Chapter 8, No Other God, Neville talks how we often have a belief in the potency of things outside of ourselves, such as drugs to heal, diets to strengthen, money to feel security. But when we do this, we give away our power. But many people have lived for a long time, believing that the power is on the outside. So it's only natural that as you come to know these teachings of, say, like Neville, that for some time you may go back to what is familiar. And that's why it's so important to hear these truths, to continue to test them out as you feel inspired, until you find out for yourself, beyond a shadow of a doubt, and take back all your power. Be master of your fate, aka your imagination, and live the life you want to be living again and again. Your next life is this life. In Chapter 9, Thy Will Be Done, Neville says, if you judge after appearances, you will continue to be enslaved by the evidence of your senses. To break from this hypnotic spell of the senses, you are told, go within and shut the door. The door of the senses must be tightly shut before your new claim can be honored. So if you want something, you're going to have to feel after it. And to succeed, you're going to have to do it despite what your senses now show you. It must be done to break the spell, and must be persisted until you have success, whatever it takes, 70 times 7. Because your old state had been natural to you and for a long time, your home. And when you want something new, it may feel unfamiliar to you, not natural. You don't dwell there, so it doesn't stick yet. In Chapter 10, Be Ears That Hear. In this chapter, Neville talks about how it's so hard for men to believe that awareness is the cause of all, the imagination creates all. Man prefers to believe in causes outside of himself. So Neville's telling you, after you hear this, don't go back to the old way, even if it is more comfortable, because you remain enslaved. As Neville says, you can't serve two masters. To really know it, you're going to have to go all in with this. Neville says, salute no man, by the way, is not a command to be insolent or unfriendly, but a reminder not to recognize a superior, nor to see in anyone a barrier to your expression. For none can stay your hand or question your ability to express that which you are conscious of being. Do not judge after the appearances of a thing, for all are as nothing in the eyes of God. Once again, when we bow down to another, we give them the power. In other words, we fall asleep in the dream of life. We forget we're consciousness creating the world. And finally, Neville says, the only way for you to avoid such failures is to constantly bear in mind that your awareness is the Almighty, all-wise presence, who without your help effortlessly outpictures that which you are aware of being. Be perfectly indifferent to the evidence of the senses, so that you may feel the naturalness of your desire, and your desire will be realized. So as Neville is saying here, you must continuously remind yourself, you're the Almighty, all-wise presence, who can effortlessly outpicture all. Otherwise, you fall back asleep, you give your power to the outside. And to also help you become indifferent to what the senses are seeing, Neville teaches you to learn to tune into your imagination and to experience instead what it is you want as though it already was. Just like when you unintentionally daydream, but now you learn to intentionally do it. Just like any skill, you can become masterful of this in time. And when you feel the naturalness and nothing can disturb you, surely you will tangibly experience your realization. Your desire is the solution of your problem. As the desire is realized, the problem is dissolved. Your desires are the invisible realities which respond only to the commands of God. God commands the invisible to appear by claiming himself to be the thing commanded. He made himself equal with God and found it not robbery to do the works of God. Now let this saying sink deep in your ear. Be conscious of being that which you want to appear. Neville is saying, feel that what you want is already so. Live there. Revisit this feeling regularly until it feels natural. And in this natural feeling, what you want will be born into tangible experience. And here in what you created, you can sustain it or destroy it by taking your attention away and embodying whatever it is you want. And this ends my commentary on Neville Goddard's 1960 book, I Know My Father. I am Lila of Nevillution.